Number 1. This story is the number one reason my electricity bill is so high. I keep every single light in the house on when my boyfriend isn't home now. I moved in with my boyfriend exactly 1 year ago tomorrow. We worked at the same place and neither of us had a car. Work was a 20-minute walk from his house and a 2-hour 30-minute walk from my house, so he was sweet enough to tell me to just move in since I spent the night every night anyway. We worked a 3-day-a-week schedule, and we got to pick which days we wanted to work overtime. Our shifts were 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. Our regular pattern would be pretty obvious to anyone who had been watching our house. I would be gone the same 3 days each week, then I would pick the first optional day as my overtime day, and my boyfriend would work all the optional days, 6 days a week. Our fairly regular schedule is important. Several months before moving in with my boyfriend, I was in a terrible relationship with a disgusting human being who abused me and was finally removed from my home by police and taken to jail for 6 months. He got out the day before I moved in with my current boyfriend, and he was not happy and started harassing me, sending me death threats, and telling every mutual friend we had that he always carried a gun and would shoot me if he ever saw me. I got a restraining order, and although he couldn't harass me to my face, he started getting creative. He moved in with a girl who lived just around the block from me. After I'd begged her not to tell him where I moved to, she told him the same day I moved, and I'm 100% sure that is why he moved in with her. I believe he started watching my house and figured out my work schedule. One day I came home to find a teddy bear with a used condom around its head placed in the middle of my driveway when I got home. I recognized it and knew for a fact it was a teddy bear he had given me months ago, that I had given back to his stepmom with the rest of his things when he was in jail. I was super creeped out and finally got a car, so on days when my boyfriend would work, I would drive him, then drive home, and when I came home, I always felt like someone was hiding behind a bush at the edge of our property. One day, I finally looked behind the bush, and although no one was there, I found a crushed Nose can. Nose is a way too sweet but extremely cheap soda that my abusive ex was completely addicted to, and this made me even more sure he was spying on my house. After a couple of weeks of keeping all doors and windows closed, I switched up my schedule. Instead of taking day 1 for overtime, I took day 2 since I had a doctor's appointment day 1 and didn't want to be tired that night from missing sleep. My boyfriend worked every overtime day as usual. He likes making money and is willing to work hard for it. I took my babe to work and got home, and within minutes could tell something was wrong. My normally quiet, docile cats were losing their minds, both making a lot of noise and both running back and forth from the dining room. The dining room is not visible at any angle from the living room and has a back door. One of our cats was mine, and one was his when my boyfriend and I met, and my abusive ex would abuse her as well, so up until the cops took him away, my kitty spent every minute on edge, usually trying to hide between my legs for protection like a toddler. That was the biggest warning sign I didn't realize. While his cat was going into the dining room meowing, my cat would look at the dining room and then run back to me. Then I heard the back door slam. I thought I was going to have a heart attack. As I crept around the corner, I saw the dining room light was on and the screen door was pulled open while the glass door was slid shut and was unlocked. I know for a fact that light was off and both the glass and screen doors were shut and the glass was locked when we left. My ex has since been arrested for breaking and entering a different house shortly after and faces 8 years in prison. Since going back into custody, all the strange things around my house stopped. I have been terrified every single night by this. Obviously, he knew which days I would be gone, and I caught him off guard coming home that day. I keep thinking about what ifs. What if he hadn't fled when he heard me come home? What if he had made good on his death threats and promises to shoot me? Nasty scumbag, creepy ex, let's never ever meet again, because if we do, I will have protection with me, and this time you will be the one bruised and bleeding. Number 2. This happened maybe 6 years ago. I had been out that night with friends and wound up hanging out really late, talking to a guy I had a crush on. It was 2 a.m. on a weeknight, and I pulled into my parking lot. I remember feeling relieved that the lamp for the lot was actually working. Often it would not be, and it always made me uneasy, even though I lived in a safe area. This was the first apartment I had ever rented where the entrance to the apartments were inside the building, so you needed a key to get in. I got my key to the building's door ready in my hand before I left my car. Not a thing I always did, but at 2 a.m. it seemed like a good idea. The lock on that door was frequently broken. You'd go weeks without needing your key because the door was just unlocked. I don't know if residents kept breaking it because they were tired of needing the key or what. It was annoying, but as a single girl in her mid-20s living alone, I was thankful for the protection when it was available. Anyway, I gathered my purse, door key in hand, and get out of my car. I'm walking to the door. I'm still a good 20 feet away. I pass the side of the building. Out of the corner of my eye, this guy stands up out of the bushes against the building and starts following me. They were not tall bushes. Dude had to have been crouched in them. Now, I only saw him out of the corner of my eye. In different circumstances, I might have thought I didn't see him correctly, or that it was just a shadow or something. But what made my blood run cold was the sound of dead, dried leaves. The unmistakable sound of leaves crunching under feet. If he had been on the grass or on the concrete path through the grass, he wouldn't have made all that noise. There were no leaves there. They had all been blown against the building and in the landscaping under the bushes. I'm instantly freaked out and pick up my pace, but I don't run. I don't turn around to look at the guy. I don't want to overreact in case it's a neighbor who was walking his dog at 2 a.m. in the bushes without a dog. I don't know. I can't explain why I felt the need to not act scared. I could hear leaves crunching give way to shoes on asphalt behind me, following me, and they got faster. He wasn't running, but he was walking faster than I was. It was like I didn't want to run because I didn't want him to know I had seen and heard him, and he didn't want to run to let me know he was following me. I don't know. It was weird. My hands were starting to shake, and I was terrified the door would actually be locked, because even though I had the key in my hand, if I had to stop and unlock it, he'd catch me. I ran up the steps, ripped the door open, and got inside. Thank God it was unlocked. Oh, it was unlocked. If he was waiting in the bushes and was trying to catch me, why did I think an unlocked door was going to stop him? Not safe yet. The door closed behind me, but was made of glass. I knew he could still see me. I turned right, and as soon as I was out of view, I bolted. The swinging doors to the stairs were propped open like they sometimes were. Good. If he comes inside, he won't see the door swinging and immediately know I went up the stairs. For all he'd know, I was one of the 3 apartments before the stairs. I'd never run upstairs so fast in my life, taking them 2 and 3 at a time. I remember making a mental note that I was glad I don't really wear heels. I finally reached the top and I stopped because I feel dumb. I feel like I'm overreacting. I listen. I hear the front door close. Panic struck through me again. I turned, went through a second set of doors, which he would have heard, and fumbled my keys with shaky hands and got inside. Lock, deadbolt. Prop a door jamb bar under my doorknob, so even if my lock failed, he couldn't open the door. I knew that was overkill. He wouldn't even know which apartment was mine, but I didn't care. I couldn't feel safe enough. I thought about staring out my peephole to see if anyone came up the stairs, but I just couldn't do it. It didn't occur to me to call the cops. I still felt I was overreacting, even though he followed me into my building. Never had anything like that happen again while I lived there. Whenever I think about it, I get panicky all over again. I do not want to know what he was going to do if he caught up to me. Number 3. This happened a few months ago in February. I'm in northern Jersey, USA, so it gets cold, especially at night. I live on 10 plus acres, and a popular trail that goes through the entire northern part of the state goes along my property. We can't see the trail from our house, and our house cannot be seen from the trail. That all being said, the location of my house is very private. I'm 21, female. I work the night shift, so I come home when everyone else is leaving for work, and I'm home alone until 6 or 7 at night. In the winter, it gets dark around 5:30. So one evening, I was walking to my kitchen, and as usual, as I walk through the house, I look out to the fields. Big windows and sliding doors face the side of my house that face the fields. Pretty much a glass house. Anyway, I look out, and less than a quarter mile, I see a man walk from one side of our property toward the trail. He wasn't really walking, more like hunched over and skipping. I don't know. Thanks to having livestock, we have binoculars handy to check on them, so I grab them to look at the guy. When I get focused on him, he looks directly at me while still walking. I'm looking at him. He's staring back with a creepy grin, and we look at each other until he climbs through the woods and gets to the trail. We no longer see each other. I call my dad. He says it may have been a coincidence, and he may truly have just wanted to get to the trail. I brush it off and get some more sleep until work. The next day, same time, I see the man again. This time, I'm not smack dab in the middle of a huge window. I'm hidden with binoculars, and I focus on him again. I jump back. He's staring right into the binoculars. How did he know where I was? I call my dad. He didn't answer. Everything is locked. You're fine. He's on the trail now, I told myself. It's now 5. Between the snow on the ground and the clear sky with the sun about to fall, it's still bright in the fields. I walk towards the kitchen. I see the man. He's not walking. He's standing, staring at me, closer to the house than before. I'm freaking out. And I'm pissed because I couldn't get a thought into my head as to what he was doing cutting through private property. Even now, to just stand there, staring. I can see the grin on his face, without binoculars. That's how close he was. I picked up my cell, showed it to him, and I dialed 911. He's still standing there. I explain everything to the dispatcher. He's still standing there. Around here, it could easily take a cop an hour or two to get here. Lucky for me, it took 15 minutes. The man, still standing, staring. I pointed at the cops coming down the driveway. The man, still standing, turns his head to look at them, turns it back to me, smiles wider, then bolts towards me, smiling like a crazy person still. Not a genuine smile, with his eyes and mouth smiling. It was a forced fake smile with just his mouth, if you can picture that. I ran towards the front door and out to the cop cars. They bolt out of the car, one into my house, two around each side of the house. They caught him and arrested him. They said when they found him, he was pressed up against the opposite side of the window I was originally standing at, still smiling, still standing. I don't know what came of him, but I know I won't be seeing him again. Crazy standing man, don't come on my property ever again. I am thankful for everyone who has listened to my story, and I hope it brings awareness to people to please be careful. Number 4. So this happened when I was 16. I'm a female, in case that's important. I'm 5'3" and about 100 pounds. Not that intimidating. Anyway, my mother was in rehab at the time. Very sad, and my mom had a really good job before she started drinking again. My dad then decided to pick up extra shifts until my mom got better. I was home alone most of the time. I know, super cliched, but I was actually very happy. I'm very social and I love to have friends over. Now, not to brag, but I had a lot of friends. I would have about 20 to 25 friends over at the most. Well, anyway, about 18 of my friends showed up around 8 p.m. one night, and we swam in the pool and chilled for a bit. Everybody went home by 10. Anyway, one of my friends posted a selfie of us on Instagram. The photo was taken when we were out on a walk a while earlier, and in the background you can see the name of my street. My friend texted me shortly after with a screenshot of one of the comments on the photo. The comment was from somebody we didn't recognize, and it said, "I know that place. See you soon." I was freaked out, but not majorly. I let it go. I was stupid, I know. Around 10:45, I was down in the wine cellar getting 2 liters of soda. I know, we keep all of our drinks down there, including water bottles. I walked back up and noticed something weird. The radio we were playing music on earlier was now on full volume. I assumed one of my friends had forgotten something, were trying to prank me, or wanted to come back. I walked towards the back door and saw nobody. I was then convinced somebody was pranking me. I locked the back door and said, "Have fun, but I'm not letting you in." My back door and the windows next to it are large and see-through. I sat down on the couch a few feet away from the back door and started watching TV. A couple of moments later, I noticed something in the corner of my eye. It was the prime example of a stereotypical creep. Somebody with a hood covering their face, black pants, black shoes, literally every single creep on here. I said, "Ha ha, very funny, Alan. What, did Jessica put you up to this?" But he didn't move. Usually, when they pulled pranks like this, they would start laughing after I noticed them. I started to think, what if it wasn't one of my friends? That's when he ran to the door and tried to open it. I jumped and panic ran through my body. He then walked over to my plants near the area. He seemed to be familiar with my yard and was looking for a rock or something to smash through the door. I jumped off the couch, grabbed my phone off the kitchen counter, should have grabbed a knife, and stopped. There was another guy standing at my front door. Tears started filling my eyes as I ran to the garage door. I went in and was about to turn the garage door up, but it would make so much noise, and I thought they would run into the garage and kill me. My garage has a neat layout. The car is in the middle, and you have the garage door back there, usual, but there's 2 doors installed in the garage right next to the car. One of the doors is a storage room filled with boxes, and another one is my dad's office, and I knew he kept a gun in there. I ran to my dad's office door, but it was locked. The keys were in the kitchen drawer. I tried to open it for at least 3 seconds until I heard glass shattering. I had no choice but to go into the storage room. I went in, but the door didn't have a lock on it. I hid behind a rack of boxes and hoped no one spotted me. That's when I heard a man's voice say,
"I think she went in the garage."
My heart dropped when I heard that. I was still somewhat hoping it was a prank. The garage door opened and I heard walking from outside the door. One of the guys opened the door I was in. I was internally freaking out until I heard him say that nobody was in there. And when they tried the office door, I heard somebody say,
"She's in here,"
and attempting to break the door down. I thought while they were busy trying to knock that door down, I could call the cops. I called them as silently as possible and told them my situation. I heard from the wall next to me they were breaking the room apart looking for me. They told me they would be there in about 3 to 4 minutes. After what felt like forever, I heard sirens, and slowly a breath of relief came out. They were gone and arrested. They looked at the guy's Instagram, and all his photos were of true crime, dead body photos. Ever since then, I hide all my photos that can trace to where I am, and I always have the doors locked because I don't want to know what would have happened if the back door wasn't locked. My mom has also gotten clean and got her job back, and my dad is at home with me at night. Creepy Mina here of the Worst Nightmare channel. I hope you enjoyed those 4 stories of women being in home invasion situations. We went from summer to winter, I think, something like that. When you hear winter stories in the summertime, I think it makes you feel cooler, which is nice. I'm going to have 4 more stories coming out. I may upload them on Wednesday, so if you're an OP from Reddit waiting to hear your story read, just hang on. It will hopefully come pretty quickly. So, of course, you know the drill. Please comment below. Have you ever been in a similar situation, a home invasion or almost home invasion? Please let us know how you handled it. Give us a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Please share on your favorite social networking platform. Follow me on Twitter as WorstNightmare6 for advance notice of all uploaded videos. And always remember to stay safe.